I'm just over 1 month post-op full body total masculinizing surgery. I call it that just because it's easier than saying I got a chest revision, liposuction on my hips, my stomach, my thighs, and a mons resection that also kind of turned into a tummy tuck. I got this surgery with Dr. Jesus Lagos in Madrid. It was a private procedure, and I have more videos about it if this is the first video you've come across. I will link them in the description so you can check them out. So yeah, I just wanted to do a bit of a check-in about where I am, being 1 month, just over, maybe 5 weeks post-op now. The main thing is that my scars have healed over and there's no more scabbing. I did pick some, which I wasn't supposed to do, but I just couldn't resist. And one of the lipo holes did open up, so I put a steri strip over it, and it's closed up again, so lesson learnt. For a couple weeks I put steri strips over my scars, but I think they irritated the skin around, so things looked quite red and raw and my skin was kind of peeling around it, so I've taken it off for just a few days to see what happens, and I think I should just avoid using it. I'm still pretty swollen. It can take up to 3 months for the swelling to go down, and it's mainly noticeable in my hips, and I know that it's swelling because when I saw my body straight after surgery, like a day after, my hips were smaller then than they are now, so it can be a little bit jarring to see that they've become bigger, but I just know that I have to be patient and it's just part of the process rather than them growing back. I also have quite a bit of swelling in my armpits, like before, okay, I'm gonna kind of show you briefly. Before I had surgery, the top part of my chest was really like protruding, and then the lower part was like concaved. So they've taken fat out of here to put in here. But when I put my arms down, this area is quite swollen still, so sometimes I wear compression for it, sometimes I leave it. I'm really struggling to figure out my compression routine. I've heard really mixed things, like you need extra compression after 2 weeks, you need to wear compression for 3 months. Yeah, I tried to wear the compression as much as possible, but I got a 2-piece compression and the top half was too tight, so I can't wear that. But then when I wear the 1-piece, it feels loose now. But yeah, as you can see, all of my bruising is basically gone. The last to go was like some greeny bruising on my torso, like around my ribs, I guess. But my legs and my arms were the worst, and that's all gone. I thought the garment would be more annoying than it is, but when I take it off, I'm actually in more pain than when I'm wearing it. When I take it off, my skin just feels really vulnerable and sensitive, so I like the compression that it gives me. I'm currently wearing like just one around my hips that I got. Yeah, so I'll probably keep the compression on my hips for as long as I can to get that swelling down, but everything else feels okay. I've started sleeping on my sides, which is a fun development, but it does hurt a little bit at the creases of my mons resection scar. It goes right across my hips, so when I'm on my side, it's kind of like stretching or pushing, so that hurts. Also, the top of my chest still hurts a bit. I feel like at the 3.5 to 4 week mark, I started feeling more flexible, like I could pick things up off the floor and I could go on longer walks, and I had more energy to chase Olive around. Like I wasn't running or anything, but I could like play with her a bit more, which felt nice. It felt like I was getting back to myself. I also felt less tight when I was walking and standing up, because as soon as I got out of surgery, I felt like I had to crouch over, otherwise I would split in half. But now I feel like that's kind of eased up a bit. I don't know if that's the right word. In terms of like the scarring, I feel like the scars are doing pretty well. There's some areas that look like they're stretching a little bit. I'm not too worried about that. This side is probably less intense. I'm gonna get some silicone strips to put on them and bio oil. The scar that is lower down is a lot more thin and flat, but I think that's because it's constantly being tightly compressed. So in terms of how I'm feeling emotionally, I feel really good. I'm feeling really confident with the results so far, even though I know there's a lot of swelling to go down and healing to go. I still feel way more confident than I did before already. My chest being fuller has been really subtle when I'm in clothes, but when I'm out of clothes it feels like really right. I also noticed that my piercings are more prominent now because my chest is fuller, whereas before it was fuller up here and then looser down, you know? So my nips were like being hidden under the baggy t-shirt. Yeah, sometimes I look in the mirror when I'm walking past and I'm like, oh, that's like, I've got pecs. I've got pecs, you know? The mons scar is really big and it's really noticeable, but I really like it. I feel super confident with that, and I don't think it would become a problem if I was being intimate with anyone or if I was going swimming. I think my shorts would probably come over the scar, but I don't know, if I was sunbathing or something and you could see the edges, I wouldn't be embarrassed or like nervous about someone seeing it. I feel like the change is really noticeable, and it's done what I wanted it to do, in that it's made things a bit more visible, a bit more easier to access, and it's like made the bulge lesser. It might sound contradictory to some people being like, I'm really glad that I don't have a bulge, but before I kind of felt really self-conscious about it, and like maybe people were looking, and I don't know, I just felt like I didn't want it there. So it's now gone and my trousers are baggy in that area, and I feel like that feels right to me. I can pack if I want to, but I don't really care to pack. But before I had to, like, it looked like I was packing all the time when I didn't want to. Maybe that's a really unpopular opinion, that I didn't want it to look like I have a bulge, but this is my experience. So yeah, I can tell a difference with my hips already, but I'm just really excited for it to go down. And I'm also really like happy with the shape of my body and how it's going. I feel like when I have taken the before and after pictures of my full body, I just feel more right and in proportion, and like my body is starting to look like how I want it to look in my head. So that's my 1 month post-op update. If you did find this helpful, I have a Patreon. This whole channel is demonetized, so even if you see adverts before it, I get none of the revenue because YouTube demonetized my channel. I use Patreon as a way to pay for my time to make these videos. If you can and you want to, then please consider checking out my Patreon. I will put the QR code somewhere and also put it in the description so you can get the details easily. Also, if you're not familiar with my work, I am an illustrator and I have more content on Instagram. I post art and comics and photos, and I share stories about my transition and other people's transition, so there's a whole bunch of like resources over there if you want to check them out. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day or week or month or everything, and I will speak to you soon. Thanks, bye.